Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are getting a chance to finally look at that brand new 2018 iToy Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's a figure I've been wanting for quite a little while, but I was only just recently able to acquire one, and I'm kind of thankful, honestly, that I waited, because originally they had released this under a slightly different paint scheme that didn't really quite match up with the Jurassic Park T-Rex. It was definitely very similar, but at the same time was not exact and was a little bit uglier, in my opinion, than the actual Jurassic Park paint scheme. And then they had discontinued it. Well, I'm not really so sure it was discontinued technically, but they retooled it basically and then re-released the figure with this brand new paint scheme that much more closely resembles the Jurassic Park T-Rex, and I definitely prefer this one way more than the previous version that they had released before. I thought the other version looked pretty good as well, but some of the paint schemes that were on the actual production style figures weren't really that great, and a lot of people had complained about it, so then they retooled it to look like this, and this is much better, and I can say with complete honesty that in person this thing is an absolute beauty. Another of the really surprising factors of this dinosaur is just the sheer size. I had seen people posting pictures of this next to the W Dragon Tyrannosaurus Rex, and they, in the pictures I had seen, kind of looked like they were about the same size or similar size, but honestly this is actually much bigger. It is significantly, I mean, it's not super huge, I can't say that, but it's definitely a good bit bigger than the W Dragon T-Rex, so it's a pretty good sized Tyrannosaurus, and I was really quite impressed when I actually opened the package and got it out with the sheer size of this JP style Rex. So anyway, without further ado, let's get a closer look at it. So starting up here at the head, taking a look at the head sculpt, you can see that the head sculpt is very nicely done. There are just lots and lots of very small and minute little details. You can see all the scale work looks really good all over it. The nostrils are sculpted out beautifully, and they've included some black paint on the inside to give it a nice dark appearance. Even the paint around the palate area is really beautiful. I love the fact that they have included a darker coloration, a darker brown that kind of outlines the palate to make it really stand out to you. You can also see those nice, very dark stripes up above the palate. And I love this dry brushing you can see in certain areas, like right here, specifically right above the teeth there. That really looks good, and it's something that you really see on the actual JP Rex. You can see it actually runs the course of the entire upper jaw there, right above the teeth, and it even runs back here. So it looks very good. Again, that nice dark coloration outlining back here in the back part of the skull, and up here around the eye as well, to really elaborate that yellow eye, and I think it does an absolutely fantastic job of that. Looking at it straight forward, you can see that the eyes are perfectly placed and they are looking completely at you, and that looks really cool. An absolutely beautiful visualization right there with the Rex staring you down. I really like that. Now the jaw is articulated, as you can see. I opened it up here, and you can see the tongue on the inside of the mouth. It's a little tough to see because it's pretty dark in there, but the detail all over the place is really beautifully done. You can see the tongue itself looks really good as well. And even the detail here on the inside of the mouth, right there, looks very nice. And you can see as I turn it, there is a gloss on the inside of the mouth that makes it look very real. It looks very beautiful. You can just make it out as it shines there as I turn it. And another one of the very impressive factors to this dinosaur figure for me is how nicely painted the teeth are. The teeth are like really well done. I mean, here and there, like right there, right about there, you can kind of see a little bit as run down onto the gums, but for the most part, the teeth are painted really beautifully, and each one is sculpted and painted individually. So overall, the teeth have been beautifully sculpted and painted, in my opinion, and they look really good because of it. There isn't really any real sloppiness, like I said, aside from one little tiny part there, but that's so minor I don't notice it. I actually hadn't even noticed it until right now, but honestly, the teeth just look fantastic and really helps to make this figure just stand out to me. As we come down along the neck, you can see all sorts of creases in the skin and some skin folds here in the neck area. You can also see some small osteoderms up here in the back, here and there. And then we get down here into the shoulder. The shoulder blade is really quite elaborated. And then we come down into those small Rexy arms, and they look beautiful. The nails are painted and there is no sloppiness with them at all. They look really good. overall the coloration is pretty much spot on in my opinion. I feel like it really matches quite well to the coloration of the actual Rex, and you can see that the actual skin detail is beautiful. It really looks good, and there's just a ton of sculpt work that has gone into the scaling and the sculpting here of the skin, and it just looks beautiful. They definitely did a fantastic job there, especially right here on the side of the stomach. The detailing there of that skin just looks so real, so legit. It just generally looks like a very large animal, and it looks fantastic. I really like that. And coming back here, you can see, again, as I slightly turn this, there is just an incredible amount of musculature in that leg, and they've sculpted it to perfection. It really looks beautiful. You can also see the hip bone up here on the top, elaborated again as well, and it looks very good. Coming down here, you can see the calf muscle sticking out. You can also see the kneecaps here in the front, and then we get down to the feet, and the feet look very good. The nails are painted and sculpted beautifully. There's no sloppiness with them either. So overall, that whole foot area looks very good. And on the lower part of the body, you can see that there's just this beautiful dry brushing that has been done, and it's up here on the stomach as well, with this very light coloration. And even on the complete underside, it just looks so good the way that they have applied this dry brushing to it. It really makes all the detail jump and pop, and I really love that. That's definitely something that I think looks fantastic on this figure as opposed to a lot of others. And then coming up here into the tail, you can see that the tail is just as beautifully sculpted as everything else. There is just an insane amount of detail and sculpt work that has gone into the tail of this Rex. Then taking a look here at the other side, just as beautiful, again, as the previous side as far as the head sculpt goes. Everything looks really nice. And then we get up here, those black stripes tend to kind of start in a really strong fashion right here behind the head, and they look beautiful. They are applied really realistically and very naturally. They've been airbrushed on there, and because of that, it's airbrushed in such a beautiful, natural way that it really looks like the animal's body color and not just paint, and I absolutely love that. And you can also take note here as I turn it that there are just numerous shades of brown that has been included. There's like this somewhat darker brown right here on the side, and then you get up here into the upper area and it kind of goes to like a lighter brown, and then to a darker brown again in the center of the spine. So they've done such a great job with the different shades of brown on this figure to make it really look like a real living animal. And then coming down here again into the shoulder blade, you can see the shoulder blade is elaborated right there, and we come down here into the arms. The arms look beautiful. Everything about them just looks absolutely fantastic. Some more very nice sculpt work here on the side, and again that beautiful dry brushing that has been done to the stomach and the lower area of the dinosaur. Beautiful skin folds here, and you can see as the dinosaur has its legs stretched back a little bit, it's kind of tugging on the skin, so that's some very nice attention to detail as far as the sculpt work goes. That beautiful hip bone up here again, sculpted really nicely, and as we turn the leg, you're going to get a good idea of that beautiful musculature that is involved again in the leg. Coming down, that nice calf muscle once again on this side, the kneecaps as well, and the beautifully sculpted feet with those very nice painted nails. Again, no sloppiness or anything at all with the nails. And then coming back up here into the tail, you can see a little bit of hanging skin there, and then you can see that there are all sorts of creases and cracks and stuff as we run the length of the tail, some osteoderms and things like that, and the overall sculpt work of the tail looks fantastic. And with this figure, you get an absolutely beautiful looking base, and I must say, as far as companies go that create bases, this, honestly, actually, a lot of the iToy bases are fantastic, but this base specifically is one of the absolute best bases that I have ever seen from one of these more common dinosaur companies that have been releasing figures like iToy. They normally release bases similar to this, but honestly, this one is just so insanely nice. It's probably my favorite base that I have as far as these type of figures go. You can see there is just so much work that has been put into this, so much sculpt work. There are just rocks all over the place, along with all sorts of vegetation that has all been sculpted and painted beautifully and to perfection, in my opinion. There's just so much, honestly, that has gone into this base. It's really quite incredible, and you can see the footprints there of the actual Rex that is walking up this hill. As you can see, it kind of starts out in a very low area and it goes up on a slope to a higher area, kind of like a rocky ledge, which I think just looks so super cool and really makes the entire thing just look absolutely fantastic once you actually put the Rex on it. I just love the fact that there is vegetation all over the place, and it's not just the same type of vegetation. It's not like all mossy type of a look. There are actual plants and things all over the place, and overall this just looks really, really beautiful. Even looking at like the rocks and the dirt, you could see there are numerous different shades of coloration and things that have been put into it, so it's just really, really realistic looking, and they did a beyond beautiful job on this base, just as beautiful as the actual dinosaur itself. So iToy should really, really be commended on just how nice this base is, because I am in love with it. And then on the underside of the base, you can see that it does in fact say iToy 2018, and it is very, very nice, very professional looking. So iToy has done an incredible job on this base. Now, with a lot of dinosaur companies, they've been doing the whole peg in the foot kind of thing. iToy has not resorted to that quite yet. I don't know if they are going to, but as of now, all you really have to do is take your Rex, put his feet within the footprints, and it stands absolutely perfectly. Now, one thing that is really cool about this Rex, as you can see here, is that the Rex can balance perfectly without the base. The fact that the base is on an uphill slant, and when you put the Rex in, it still balances really, really perfectly. Look at that, absolutely awesome. But then you can take it off the base if you would like, and then put it here, and it is just an absolute champ when it comes to balancing. And it's so impressive with the way it can balance that if I take it actually over here to the edge of where I review, look at that. That foot actually right there is not touching here. I'll move it back out a little bit further. It is balancing completely on one foot, even over a little ledge like that. That is incredibly impressive to me, how well they did on the balancing of this figure. iToy is just doing an absolutely bang-up job on these figures. As far as a size goes on this T-Rex, like I said, it is fairly large. So from the head to the tail, you are looking at almost 15, a little over actually, 15.5 inches, or about 39.5 centimeters. And for a height, and this is of course off the base, on the base it would be significantly taller, but it is about 6.5 inches, or about 16 and almost 16.5 centimeters. As far as the base goes, for a length on the base, you're looking at about 9 inches, or about 23 centimeters, and for a width, I'd say about 5, almost 5 inches, or about 4 3/4, and about 12.5 centimeters, somewhere in that area. It's not exact because the base is really kind of different widths all over the place, so it's not a perfect science as far as measuring the base. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, and that right there should give you a very, very good idea of how big this Rex is from iToy, because it is significantly larger than the Papo T-Rex, and the Papo Rex is not a small figure by any means. It's a fairly decent size, and it is much bigger than our Papo Rex friend. And you can see that the overall detail and sculpt is really beautiful, and really compares to Papo, which is a very, very highly detailed dinosaur in its own right. So iToy is doing just an incredible job with their T-Rex figure that they've got out, and honestly with all of their figures. I've been a very, very big fan of iToy since I first found out about them with their old Velociraptor, so it's great to see that iToy is still doing a really, really good job and just improving constantly. And if we actually put the iToy Rex on its base and then stand it next to the Papo Rex, you can see that it is way larger now, looking at least on this base compared to the Papo Rex. And if we are going to check the height on it, once it's actually on the base, you are looking at about 9 inches, or about 23, just under 23, or about 22.5 centimeters. And if we take a look at the actual box, you can see down here is the iToy logo, and as we come up, there is an absolutely fantastic and very beautiful picture of the iToy Rex, but actually this is the previous paint scheme that they had done So the box, I think they just decided to keep with that same paint scheme, which is completely fine because that whole scene there just looks really, really cool. You get a shot of a sauropod in the background there and a pterodactyl, and it just looks so cool. And then we come up here and you can see that it does say Tyrannosaurus Rex up here at the top. And if we turn the box, again says Tyrannosaurus Rex on the side, but it says iToy Tyrannosaurus Rex up here at the top, and then it kind of gives you just a ton of information, and even actually mentions Jurassic Park here on the back. Has quite a bit that you can read all about it, and then that's really about it. But then you come down here and you get a nice little size comparison of the Rex next to a man. So overall the box is really, really beautiful, very, very high quality, and just an even cooler thing to add to this already awesome set. So as far as Jurassic Park T-Rex figures go, this one is fantastic. You can see that the jaw, as I mentioned previously, is articulated and it works perfectly. And even with the mouth open, which is actually how I like to pose it and display it, I like to have it with the mouth open. But overall, it just is incredible. I love the overall scene that it's creating here with the Rex stepping up here onto a ledge. And then if you open the mouth, it's kind of like it's giving off a nice roar, which actually really reminds me a little bit of the ending of Fallen Kingdom, where the Rex is kind of standing on that ledge and he roars at the lion. It's fairly similar to that, in my opinion. But of course, this is a much younger looking Rexy, as the one in Fallen Kingdom has aged quite a bit and a lot of its color has faded. This one is still very, very vibrant, very colorful, and just looks so fresh and beautiful. It really is reminiscent of the original Jurassic Park movie, so it kind of gives you just an idea of maybe the Rex after the park has fallen and it's just running loose, just kind of showing that this is this Tyrannosaurus Rex's park and nobody else's. But overall, this, like I said, is beautiful. It balances really, really well. You can see even as I turn it, it absolutely is perfectly balanced. And every angle that you look at it from just looks fantastic. It really, really does. It's very beautiful. The base is very, very nicely done as well. And like I said, it's probably my favorite base out of all the bases that I have from these type of dinosaur companies. But overall, this thing is a surefire win, and if I were rating it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it an 11 just because it is so stinking nice. So if you do want to buy one of these, I will link you guys to an AliExpress seller that I usually buy a lot of this stuff from, as he is absolutely awesome when it comes to getting these figures. So I'll link you guys to him. I don't recall offhand what the price is exactly, but I think it's somewhere in the $80 to $89 range, somewhere in that general area. But they do go on sale quite often, so you've always got a chance of ordering it a little cheaper. But either way, I 100% recommend this, as it is really, really nice, and something that any Jurassic Park fan would definitely be very happy with if you purchased it. And not just Jurassic Park fans, just dinosaur fans in general. So go ahead, click the link in the description, go purchase one if you would like, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.